Business meeting, stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public be heard.
Oh, thank you. Paul Caston.
Oh, yes.
Is he in the room? Paul?
I'm here for one reason only.
How are you, Paul?
I'm good, thank you. To invite you guys to our first mixer in a long.
Oh, mixer, hold on, go ahead.
It will be on the 10th,
October 10th,
which is your meeting night, I believe, right?
10/10.
That means an early night. What time is it, 5?
No, 6 to 8. So you come at 6
Oh,
to our mixer. We got food. It's going to be over at the Woodstock Pizza Theater. And then you can come here. And
no. Let's do the meeting before then. We don't do a meeting at 8 o'clock at night.
No, we have to leave the next
I need to have a
Pizza? Is that
cocktail.
Casco Mountain? I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's wine they'll be providing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that Casco
You can
Mountain,
have an early
Casco Mountain
meeting
Pizza?
that night.
I'm sorry?
When you say Woodstock Pizza, you mean Casco Mountain Pizza?
No, the
What-
one by the theater.
Oh, the
It's called
theater.
Woodstock Theater Pizza.
It used to be Rick's Wood Fire or something.
Yeah, is that in Rome or not?
Six-
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a new manager. He's
6 to
great.
8
Yeah,
at Pizzeria.
so the board is invited. It's going to be for members, basically, who would like the board to meet. It's a good opportunity to meet everybody. Hope
Thank
it'll-
you.
it'll turn out.
So Nick, just if the press could note that we may be adjusting the meeting time on the 10th to accommodate the chamber.
Great.
Don't need any more than $50 worth.
Don't even.
So what,
Well, no, we're there if we're there in official capacity,
You guys can do it
would
right
that be
now.
okay?
Why can't you meet at 5?
We might be even able to cancel the meeting altogether. I'd rather see what we have going and maybe.
You are the man, Bill.
I won't get a can of worms.
Here's why I'm thinking that is because we are going to be having the presentation of the budget sometime the first week of October. So we'll be having a meeting that week. We will then have budget hearings the week of the 9th, so 10th, 11th, 12th. So we will have met a number of times during the week then. So I'm thinking that if there's any business that we need to take care of, we're going to have ample opportunity. So it may be that the meeting just gets
moved?
or postponed or cancels due to the fact that we'll have a couple of other meetings there.
And
So
then we'll meet for the business meeting, which would be the
the
18th.
business meeting will be the
7.
17th. The 10th is a Tuesday.
17th, yes.
By the
So
way,
you're saying you mean October 10th, there may not?
We may not, unless there's some earth-shattering business that
Iris,
needs.
what are you going to do on the 10th?
I'm doing,
You're videotaping it?
so I
We
Might
might,
not have to.
don't have
we might not have to. Can you do it on the 17th?
to. No, I won't be here.
Okay,
But that she'll be there.
okay. Well, we'll keep everyone posted, but it's looking like
good.
we'll defer and mix
And
with
we'll
the
send
chamber.
you an official announcement. Actually, it'll probably come from the manager of the restaurant.
Okay,
Very
excellent.
nice.
Well,
Thanks,
it's
Paul.
supposed to not be.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you can take, you're gonna have a meeting with the chamber between now and then?
Yeah.
So you can let them know that the siding for the bathroom has been ordered and painted, and they're getting ready to start construction.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
When
So,
are they going to start?
you know, it's the same contractor who's doing the renovations down at the meat market, and I think his plan, because you know he can work there for a day or two, and then he's got to wait, so he's going to kind of bounce back and forth a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm guessing within the next week or so.
Oh, wow.
So it'll be,
Full
you know,
holiday season, which is great.
yes, and you know, so we'll be able to keep it.
And the scope of work will be?
So what the plan we came up with is they're going to put several inches of rigid insulation on the outside on the block part of the building.
Gotcha.
Okay, so from grade, well, actually they'll go a couple inches below grade
Mm-hmm.
to run the insulation down up to about 8 feet to the top of the wall.
Right.
We'll get rigid insulation and then wood siding, novelty siding. It'll look just like the community center. It's the same color patterns. And then on the inside, we will, in the roof and the end walls, we'll put fiberglass insulation and sheet rock. And so
New heating system? or-
not this year.
Okay.
We'll use the heating system we have, and we'll see how that goes. It's conceivable that we end up, if February, the end of January gets very cold, it's conceivable we may end up draining it for this year
Right.
with the intent of updating the heating system.
New fixtures or things?
The fixtures will stay the same.
One has been under commission for a long time. Did you know?
In
The
the,
men's room.
I thought that got replaced.
When was that? I was there a few weeks ago and it wasn't replaced.
One of the, I'll go take a look. I know we replaced one already.
Okay. Because it's been, there's tape on it or whatever, so it's not working. Just,
Okay, yeah, I'll look into that. Thank you.
but thank you for moving ahead with that.
You're welcome.
Thank you all.
No more public be heard?
Nope.
So I have a couple of announcements. First, I'd like to congratulate Woodstock's Ellen Denson for winning her third consecutive Senior Women's Golf Association Championship. Congratulations, Ellen, and here's to next year, number 4. The other thing I want to note is County Legislator Jonathan Hetner and I had an impromptu meeting with Congressman John Faso on Friday. The Congressman was in Woodstock to dedicate a grave marker to a fallen veteran at the Woodstock Cemetery. We met at my office, and his first question was, he was asking about issues in the town, at which point Jonathan and I forcefully drove home our town's concerns, mainly regarding health care, both the need to get more people insured and to make it more affordable. I pointed out that the cost of healthcare is one of the fastest rising costs that the town faces. Another issue we discussed was DACA and the need to come up with a solution that helps these young people avoid deportation. It's just very unsettling, and I know it's an issue near and dear to the heart of Woodstockers. Jonathan also raised the issue about the federal budget. The town isn't so dependent on that, but the county depends on a bit of federal money, and so there is concern from Jonathan about potential cuts that could curtail vital county programs such as affordable housing programs and social services. One of the interesting things that the congressman noted is that he lives in a very divided district, and it left me with the feeling that it's all the more important that we continue to reach out to him and let him know how we feel and our concerns about the different issues, because if it's that divided, he's got to pay attention to us, and so that's my recommendation on that. The other thing, I was totally remiss last week. I should have announced that on Saturday, the Woodstock Fire Department and the Woodstock Police Department had a softball game. It was very close. The police did win. And I say that quietly because I played for the fire department. But we had a great time. It was really nice. There were a lot of families out there from both sides of it. We had a barbecue afterwards. And I think we had such a good time that we're going to plan to try and do it a couple times during the year. And, I'll be more on top of it and let the public know, because I think those who were there had a good time watching us stumble around the field.
Yeah.
So, but it was very close. All right, the police won. Is that loud enough? You couldn't have put that up 2 minutes ago?
You made me get a hot flash over that one.
One other quick thing I just want to mention is that I know that there was a meeting about the Woodstock Cemetery the other day, and I think there's a lot of different stories and rumors and concerns flying around. One of the board members, one of the only active board members, had come to me some time ago about the possibility of the town taking it over. And my attitude has been, from day one, that if a cemetery is abandoned, the town has to take it over. And my attitude is if this fell in my lap, that I would do the best to make the best of a not-so-great situation. It is not something I'm courting, looking forward to, desiring to obtain. But again, I will do the best if we do get this. Fortunately, though, I know that a group of 12 or 13 individuals came forward in the hopes and with the idea that they would reconstitute the board. So I believe, have they met yet, or their plans for
We're
them
going to meet on Saturday, the 30th,
Okay.
10 o'clock here. I know it's the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, but those who can meet and whatever public wants to stop in
Did you get that
And weigh in.
date?
can come here on the 30th at 10.
Okay.
It is the desire of a lot of Woodstockers not to have the town take it over, not for any particular reason other than volunteerism usually does better than the town taking over of cemeteries.
Couldn't agree with you more,
Yeah.
and I wish you all the luck in the world.
Well, you know what, we're just trying to get it off the ground and we're looking for people. I actually talked with Alicia from the New York State Division of Cemeteries today,
Mhm.
with Kathy Longier. We talked for 45 minutes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she's actually a very, very nice woman. She's smart and does not want the town to take it over either.
No, no.
Because it does much better when it's not
Absolutely.
taken over by the town. It's going to be the least concern of town finances, it's going to be the cemetery.
I met with that woman and one of her associates a couple of times over this issue, and she's very knowledgeable, very helpful.
Yep.
She really stressed, and she believed that there were, the town taking over it is really a last
Resort.
and she really felt strongly that there were some options there and that some new blood on the board could
Yeah,
do wonders.
she's definitely willing to work with any new board or committee that comes together.
Mm-hmm.
And she highly recommends, so if there's anybody listening out there, if you want to put in the paper, we're looking for people that are financial savvy,
Mhm.
legal savvy, different things like that. You really need some
Maintenance.
brains on the board.
Yeah.
Yes, and maintenance.
If they could get a good combination of a couple of different people like that.
Just to point out, Richard and I were also at the meeting. Laura went to another meeting, she came at the end.
But I can't, and Terry talked to me for about half an hour afterwards, so I got a little briefing.
But the main point, I think that the people at the meeting were under the impression that if the town put the cemetery over, that, everything would be just for free then, because they wouldn't have the expenses and they wouldn't have the budgetary issues they have now, which is for the past 3 to 4 years they've been in the red. So I made it pretty clear to them that if the town took it over, there would still be expenses. The town would then incur the expenses that the cemetery has as far as maintenance, fixing the road, fixing the different things at the cemetery, mowing. So that the impression they had was, if the town takes it over, then we won't be in the red and we won't have to worry about the money and everything will be fine. I said, well, you're going to pay for it one way or another. You're going to pay for it through the people who own plots at the cemetery. Well, all the taxpayers are going to pay for it because we're going to need additional personnel on the town level to do those chores. Mow, fix, maintain, So anyways, I think that became clear that there's no free ride anywhere, that somehow you're going to be paying for it one way or another.
Actually, the volunteers might be able to get different people to volunteer to come in and do some of the maintenance.
Right.
Whereas the town really can't
Right.
do that. We're not in a position to
And
do
to get
that.
donations, the volunteers could possibly get donations.
Whereas the
That would
town-
not really
the
be
town
opposition.
Would not.
Having been involved with the artist cemetery for a number of years, it's a business, and it's 24/7 sometimes. But I want to commend Jackie and Kathy Longier for taking the lead on this. They're excellent at the meeting and trying to salvage this whole situation. Thank you.
And I thank both of you for going in my stead. I had planned to go there, and another event came up that I went with Jeremy's wife, Fran, down to Poughkeepsie. Jeremy was honored, and I forgot to pick up the plaque to bring it. I'll do that at the next meeting. But he was honored by NAMI, which is a group a support group that deals with mental health issues. And Jeremy had done a lot in the last couple of years throughout the county, actually, in helping get them into school districts and get the county up to speed on these issues. And so they were showing their appreciation for that. And so that was a very nice event. The one other issue that I have here with question marks that Councilman Wenk asked me to bring up, I guess now, is parking signs up on Meads Mountain Road. So,
What are you looking at me for?
Well, I did go take a ride up there on Saturday. It was in the afternoon, and I forgot how far down he wanted the parking
Down
signs.
to his driveway, past his driveway.
yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
but I guess I wasn't sure exactly where that was. So I did drive around. I did see that there were some cars parked on the road. There was one spot. I guess the no parking goes to the spot where there actually are some off-street spots. And then, but right before that and beyond it, there were cars parking on the road that did make it. On the way up, it wasn't so scary, but on the way down, I had to be on the oncoming lane to come down because there were cars. So I did see the issue. And I wasn't sure if the issue was when you get to the monastery, there didn't seem to be anybody parking beyond the monastery. It seemed to be as you're going up towards the monastery from Rock City Road, that's where the problem
Meads
is.
Mountain.
On Meads Mountain. But once you got beyond the monastery, there was like nobody parked on the other side that I saw.
They have over the summer, again, this was a terrible, terrible, terrible problem last year when we amended our parking law to the point where there were a couple of times where there were cars on both sides of the road and I couldn't fit in my pickup truck, that I actually had to reverse back.
Wow.
That has not been the issue.
Right.
That they have had, on occasion, cars parked on one side, but it's never been to the point where I could not get through. Now, to get two cars past,
Right.
there have been some bad weekends.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And they do occasionally park from the monastery going down McDaniels.
The other way.
Yes.
Yeah, which I didn't happen to see on
There is a
Saturday.
stretch there. The monastery does have a parking area down on the right side. They'll park between the monastery and their parking lot. Can be a little bit. That is at least a straightaway, and not as bad. It's that turn that's the worst part. Now Jay wants more parking signs. One of my issues, and we could do that. We have to amend the law. But unfortunately, they're not paying attention to the signs that are there now.
Okay.
So,
Start giving tickets.
they write a lot of tickets. They've written a ton of tickets. And in fact, the judges then, they've sent us packets of people complaining because they got tickets. They sent one, it was a letter, and the person sent a picture and said, I didn't see the parking signs. And they sent a picture of their car with the sign clearly in the picture.
Well, they said there were leaves on the trees that blocked my view, and I thought, don't we live in a forest area, and there's leaves on all the trees, and there are always leaves on trees here? Like, you would think if you saw a sign, you'd actually try and read it, but...
So I know that Councilman Wenk will...
Could you remind us about the parking area that we're expanding?
Yes, so they are working on, if you go down McDaniels Road and go around the S-turn there, down past Magic Meadow, the state is putting in a parking area that'll hold somewhere between, I think, 40 and 60 cars. They won't know the exact count until it's done and kind of striped out, laid out. And
When anticipated finish?
I would say within the next week or two. They did end up, they had a terrible time with the gravel supplier in getting gravel delivered. And some of the neighbors up there asked if they would put it off, so they stopped it at the end of July. And just got back in there the last week or two.
But you're saying it's past, like the entrance to Magic Meadow? And
So
all
if you go down
towards McDaniel, down McDaniel.
200, 300 yards.
So if you're coming up Meads, will there be signage?
There is supposed to be signage, additional parking with an arrow down the road. They'll also on their website, I believe they're going to acknowledge this parking. And from the parking lot, they have a very nice bridge, little footbridge, that will take people from that lot through the woods as opposed to running them. Right now, people are parking all up and down that road there and then walking up to the trailhead. Now they'll be able to take a little short loop up to the trail. I don't think they end up right at the trailhead, but a little further up.
Good.
Does it make sense at all to see, once the extra parking is there, and see if the problem persists? Or do we think we should take action
If they're
regardless?
going to be finished that soon.
I would wait.
And see if the problem
Yes.
goes away once that,
Because you're going to learn come, fall season leaves and all, there's going to be a lot of people up there
Right.
for fall foliage. So we're going to learn fairly quickly at the parking lot.
whether it's any,
And let's just be clear, the police can still write tickets. You can't park on pavement.
Right.
So all those
Right.
people parking from the church down to Jay's are all still illegally parked.
but it might just be not $150, it might be
It will
something
not be a
else.
$150 fine, it'll be
Whatever it
50
is.
or whatever. It's
Yeah.
still a fine, it's still
Yeah.
not legal.
Yeah,
I would prefer to wait and see what happens.
yeah. And we won't be waiting long, as
I
Richard
think we
says.
should wait.
We are getting, a little crazy with signs all over the place. I
Well,
mean,
that's
before
the
you
other
know
one,
it,
Yeah.
we're gonna have half the town covered with signs. So, okay, I'll let Jay know that we'll keep an eye on
It's
it,
gonna get cold weather too, so that's gonna cease for a little bit.
yes.
Very quickly, if you go to the next subject.
Yes.
It's nothing to do with policies. Are we allowed to open the windows?
You just put the AC
We do have
on.
the AC on, if you wanna come over and sit closer to the AC. I can feel it, it's pretty cool.
Cross circulation come in, like a hot air.
It's an old building.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just supposed to hear it's a little bit cooler here.
Oh, yeah, the windows open.
It's cooler outside than it is in
You wanna
here.
leave the windows open, you want? Yeah, okay. So why don't you open that back door then?
No, because
Oh, no?
that lets everybody
Let the bug in?
pterodactyl in here to deal with them all day long.
Okay, so go ahead and open that one a little bit.
The window.
Yeah,
You're not gonna be able to open those windows.
okay.
No, you can't open them, they don't.
Oh, they don't stay up? Okay.
They don't stay on.
Yeah.
Sit in the chair right by the AC.
It's not so much for me, it's for everybody, but.
No, I appreciate that. Is anybody here from the Jewish Family Services of Ulster County?
Well, I was going to talk about the comp plan. If
I
we're
got
still,
announcements at the board at the end.
from the board. Okay, gotcha.
Going once, going twice. Okay, we'll see if they come in later on. So let's hop to resolutions and then we can cover the comp plan. Be it resolved to accept minutes from the meetings held on August 15th and August 29th.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to accept town clerk's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to authorize transfers per transfer sheet.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to authorize payment of audited vouchers in the amount of $196,239.85. All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to amend the voucher total for the month of August to $213,436.82.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to amend Resolution 158
Oh, I didn't get a back page.
I get the front page, how's that?
You're kidding me, that's too funny.
No, I was wondering, I didn't get the front page.
Hold on.
We're good, we're good.
Lynn made copies, let me see what you did. Let's see.
Well, we're sharing. Richard and I are sharing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I figured.
Here's a double sided, so,
Oh, okay, because I didn't get the front page.
Bill, did you get a double
I
sided?
got double-sided.
I'll take a double-sided.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else not get a double sided?
Be it resolved to amend Resolution 158-2017 to read, accept the retirement of Therese Fernandez, Planning Board Secretary, effective July 17, 2017.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Whereas on July 11, 2017, the town board adopted a resolution to expend an amount up to $78,400 from the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Type Fund for one used truck, one new shoulder machine, and one new boom vibratory roller. Whereas this resolution was subject to a permissive referendum pursuant to provisions of Article 7 of the New York State Town Law, and whereas the town board has not received a petition calling for a mandatory referendum, therefore be it resolved the highway superintendent can expend up to $78,400 from the Highway Equipment Reserve Type Fund for the purchase of the following items. One used 2004 International Paystar 5600 dump truck for a sum of $38,625 purchased from the town of Patterson, and one new shoulder machine and one new vibratory roller.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to request the New York State Department of Transportation perform, forget the two, a traffic study on Route 212 from Wittenberg Road west to Glasgow Turnpike. If I could have a second for the purpose of discussion. Okay, so there's an individual, I guess recently purchased a house between those two roads. So we're talking about Wittenberg Road down by the Cub Market, going west to Glasgow Turnpike. That section, they bought a home. They're feeling that the traffic is going a little too fast there, so they talked to the state, the DOT. And the process is that we have to request for them to do a study. So we're neither endorsing the issue. We're just simply asking them to come out, and they'll do an engineering study and make a determination. And it's all based on traffic science, I guess.
Okay, and just out of curiosity, it's no cost to the town, I'm guessing?
No cost to the town, and you know, the state taxpayer pays a little, but it's an in-house engineer who comes out for a couple of hours and does a count. So it's not a very costly process for them either.
Yeah, but just out of curiosity, sidetrack though, I see on, I think, 375 and also on 212 in the center of town, when I get on from 375 onto, I see it looks like somebody's doing a traffic study there as well.
The state is doing a traffic study, and actually I think this Friday I have a meeting. They're doing 3 major traffic studies. One in Saugerties, one at 212 and 375, and I think the other might be Port Ewing. So
Okay.
we are going to be having a meeting, you know, we'll have a couple of meetings on that.
Since you're talking to the state, when you come into town where Laura's talking about the entrance to Kachina, seems to be an old New York State sign there about fixing 212 and all that stuff from a year or so ago. It's still there.
I thought they'd taken that down.
Fixing what?
It's when they did the repairs on 212 and...
Oh, the sign,
Still
there is a
there?
sign still there that
It's
says,
still there.
coming in the fall of 2016.
16.
Okay, I'll mention that to them. Okay. So back to the resolution, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be it resolved to amend Resolution 92-2017, agreement for the expenditure of highway monies to eliminate work on Van Wagner Road and Reynolds Lane and include work to be done on Baker Road and Mandel Road. If I could have a second for purpose of discussion.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you. Here, explain it.
So, Michael, you know, in the spring, we signed a 284 agreement with him that he's going to take monies and repair. He listed the roads. Van Wagner was on there, Reynolds was on there, McDaniels, I forget the other 2 that were on there. And he didn't go into great explanation, but he felt that Van Wagner Road and Reynolds, well, actually Van Wagner Road I think was in a little better shape than he anticipated, and Reynolds Lane, they have not done, at the end of Reynolds Lane, they're going to be replacing the culvert that's there with a new, bigger culvert. So he felt that would be better. That didn't happen this year, that we'd hoped that it would, and so he anticipated that he would repave the whole thing once that was done. So that's why he's eliminated that, and he'll do that next year. And he felt that Baker Road and Mandel Road were in more dire need of improvement. All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to accept the resignation of Police Officer David Strattenberg as of September 14, 2017, and thank him for his service.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I appoint Councilperson Kathy Magarelli and myself, Supervisor Bill McKenna, as negotiating team for the United Public Service Employees Union up at the highway department.
Second.
That doesn't, that's supervisors.
Sorry.
No,
I
that's
just
okay.
like saying second.
I did that one time too, so.
That doesn't help.
We made the same mistake. Yeah.
I'm gonna talk a little.
Yes, announcements from the board?
Do you want to go first, Laura? or-
Um,
I just have some.
whoever,
Okay, I'll do this. The library in, Woodstock Library has put out a survey to the residents, and it says something like this: which of these options would you like the Woodstock Library trustees to use as a guide for improving the building? There are 6 options. Some of them are, just do nothing, some of them are just improvements, some of them are expansion, some of them is a totally new library. It breaks down the options, the cost, and on the back, it clearly describes all the different options and what's being done. The library, I think this is a great idea because they're trying to get at least 20% return from the town to find out what people really want. Do they want to spend $4 million? They want to spend $2 million? What do they want? What kinds of improvements they want in their library? These are available in Jackie's office. I believe they're available at the library. They're available online. And I know there are volunteers going around town handing them out. But they're not going to be mailed, as far as I know. They're not being mailed. But there's 3-4 different ways you can get one of these papers. And please respond. I think it's important that the library board have a clearer picture of what the people in this town really want. Do they want a brand new $5.8 million library? Do they want just a renovation of $1.8 million? What do the people in Woodstock want? And this is your opportunity to give your opinion and give the library board some guidance in what direction they should go in.
And just to be clear too, I think I heard that while you can download and print this online, you cannot.
you can't take it online?
You can't do it online. So I believe it's available to print, but you still have to print it out, answer it, and
And
then send it in.
that's the library website, not the town website.
Correct.
And so you can bring it to this office, you can bring it to the library. So there's 2 locations right there that are pretty simple.
Or you can mail it in. They have their address stamped right there.
If they want to drop it off in my office, we'll make sure the library gets it.
So please do put your opinion out there so the library board really gets a sense of what the town wants, because, personally, I'd like to see something done at the library so there's an improvement there. I mean, it definitely needs work and renovations or something, and this will help the library board make a decision.
Is there a deadline? I think there is, as to when they want that back by. They could be
Barry, do you know when there's?
on the back front side.
Let's see. It's not too long.
October something, October 9th or something like that.
Beginning of,
Beginning of October?
I did see it, it's on there.
yeah, the next 3 weeks.
Nick, do you need one? Or do you
I have
have
it.
You can hear Nick. You can have
I
that
have, yeah, Jack got it.
one. Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm scanning this and I do not see the date on it.
I would get it in as soon as possible within the next couple of weeks. So, and Laura, you had,
Comprehensive plan.
yes,
Yes,
another
what?
survey.
Another survey.
A
So,
very important one as well.
Indeed. So when Richard and Kathy were at the cemetery meeting, the comprehensive plan meeting was the exact same time, and as one of the 2 liaisons for the comprehensive plan meeting, I thought it was good that we divide and cover everything. So I was at the comprehensive plan committee meeting. The survey that we've been talking about, or not the survey, but the postcard I have it in my hand. What the Comprehensive Plan Committee has decided to do was send postcards out to, I think, pretty much every address. Oh, and there's Kirk Ritchie. If I get anything wrong, you can correct me. Kirk Ritchie, the chair of the Comprehensive Plan Committee, has just walked in. So people in Woodstock, just about everybody, can be expecting to see a postcard inviting them to take the survey. The Comprehensive Plan survey, we all know the Comprehensive Plan is extremely important. It's going to be helping define Woodstock's vision for the future, but it's a vision of Woodstockers, all of us, all of you, and to make sure the Comprehensive Plan matches all of our collective visions, including everybody in Woodstock, the comprehensive plan survey will help in making sure that everybody's thoughts are gathered and we have a consensus of ideas. So the comprehensive plan survey, you'll get good at taking surveys over the next couple of weeks. When you get your postcard, you'll find it tells you Woodstock needs you, and we do. And there is an online completion for the comprehensive plan survey. You can take it online. You'll go to the town website woodstocknewyork.org, and there is a code.
So let's not get that far.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Because it's not up and ready, so let's...
let's leave it there. Wait for your postcard.
Wait for the postcard.
Wait for your
But
postcard.
the online way to take it is the best, most efficient way, correct?
Totally. It's
Encourage online.
Yeah, it's advised because the online survey will save everybody paper. It's the greener way to go, and it will make it easy to tally up the answers. So hard copy surveys, we don't know when the hard copy will be at the clerk or the library, but
Thursday they'll be there.
But they will be available here at the town clerk's office?
Thursday.
correct.
And at the library?
Correct. So yes. So just to yes. So the hard copy surveys, if you choose not to take online, you can get your hard copy, as we're saying, at the town clerk's office or at the library starting this coming Thursday. Today is the 19th. That would be the 21st. And these surveys are due. Your postcard will tell you. These surveys are due on October 13th, and the next comprehensive plan community meeting will be on October 23rd, 7 o'clock p.m., Meskel-Hornbeck Community Center. So the comprehensive plan, I'm so excited and delighted. We're cruising forward. At the meeting last Wednesday, the fire, we had 3 people from the fire department there, commissioner, a co-commissioner, another commissioner, so we had several people talking about the needs of the fire department. So I'm delighted that the comprehensive plan committee is very thorough, because so many stakeholders have come in to talk to the committee. We've had the 4 firehouse meetings, so the committee has been out to all the areas of Woodstock, and now the survey is everybody will get an opportunity to take it. You'll get a postcard, and then we'll be wrapping up on the 23rd. So get your survey in by the 13th, because by the 23rd of October, we'll be communicating the survey results at the community center, 7 p.m. So well underway.
I just want to add, I know that the town has been talking about a comp plan for a long time now, probably a year and a half, maybe close to 2 years. We've been underway officially for about 4 or 5 months, and I still get people who want to get involved, and actually somebody today reached out and said, I'd like to be on the committee. I said, the committee has been meeting for a number of months now, we're good. But this really is one of the most critical steps, I believe, is to get good survey results. And the more results we get, the better off we will be, the better answers we'll have, the clearer direction we'll have. And so if you do nothing else with the comp plan, this survey is absolutely critical, I feel. And particularly for these young folks, I would just urge you, I know you guys are young and busy and starting families and busy with work and whatnot, but this is going to be your town soon. And you need to have a voice in the direction it heads. And this is the time. So just please, everybody, take a moment. It doesn't take that long. It probably wouldn't take more than 10, 15 minutes to do the survey.
Well, it's a bunch of...
It's 10 minutes.
10 minutes online. If you have to come into town, stop up here at the library, it's going to take you another half an hour, but it's really just so critical. And I know all you young people have cell phones that you can go online and do this, so please. So, thank you.
I just want to say how fortunate the people in this town are that they are going to have the opportunity to give input into 2 really crucial things. Don't get confused, the library survey is not online, but you can get it in 3-4 places. But you can get it online, but you can't fill it out online. But the comprehensive plan survey, you can get online and fill it out online. So please, do something for something you're going to be happy with for the next 10, 15, or 20 years, both with the library and the comprehensive plan of Woodstock. Give your opinion, fill out the surveys, and send them in. And we appreciate the time we will take to do that.
Thank you. Richard, you had a couple of things?
Oh, we had
Very
a,
quickly, it's about
Yes,
this.
come on up.
Okay. Hey, kids.
How are you, Lisa?
Thank you. As a constituent here, I just want to go over this library comprehensive, like it's,
Yeah, sure.
okay, it's so fast. This is what I have,
Slow
so I'll
down.
pass on the word. I've got, for the library, you can print it out online.
Yes.
You could submit it by mailing it in, that's on the sheet.
Mhm.
That's one. Two is it can be brought to Jackie's office, that's town offices. And three can be submitted at the library.
Correct, yes.
No, those three,
If you-
and before this printing out online, but then it needs to be submitted.
Right, but so there's a copy of it. If you, do you have a copy of it?
No, we don't.
Okay, so take that one right there.
Thank you.
And if you see, if you fold it in three, you'll see the address, the mailing address is right there. Just put a stamp
And
on
it
it.
is the library.
Yes.
Oh, okay, great, okay. And then for the comprehensive plan, I've got, it's too fast for me.
Oh, sorry, go
I just
ahead.
want to make sure I've got this right. I've got, the deadline is October 13th. The
Yes.
follow meeting is the October 23rd at
7 p.m.
So that's going to be the first big public meeting, very important meeting.
Okay.
It'll be at the community center.
And then I've got there's a postcard coming in the mail.
To tell you about it. It'll tell you how to access it, and if you need a hard copy, where to go for hard copy, but also how to access it online, and online is preferred.
So I've got the 3 ways for this one. It's 3, and 1 is online. The second is town offices again. And then the third is the library?
Yes.
So it's 3, okay. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you for summarizing it. Making it clear. No, because there's a lot to, there's a lot to process with both surveys coming out at a similar time, which is just the way it worked out, but it's a lot to process. Thank you.
And the library survey, I mean, that's basically 2 questions. It's 5 minutes. It's quick. And
Yeah.
ours, according to Iris, is going to be 10 minutes online. So
Right.
these are not long, lengthy
Okay.
processes here.
Okay.
But they're critical.
But very
I just have
helpful.
to say whatever it is, I'm against. That's right.
Okay, so that wasn't really you speaking.
That was gradual.
Okay.
It was gradual.
Richard, you had a couple of things to,
I don't have a survey, I'm sorry.
you don't have any
I don't have a
survey?
survey.
Thank goodness.
Just a couple of things, because after the last meeting, a couple of people have approached me about the Airbnb short-term rental committee and what we're actually doing. The committee I'm working with is a working committee. We're doing nuts and bolts, the legwork to track down the things we need to track down in terms of zoning law, applications, different types, fees. We're not really discussing the problems with Airbnb and that type of thing. We're really basically doing the grunt work that we can present to the board to give the board parameters to think about in establishing a new Airbnb ordinance or a new short-term rental ordinance. So you can explain better than I do. So we meet over in the supervisor's office every couple of weeks, and we're getting there. But if you have any thoughts, there will be time for public input at some point with the board.
When it comes to the board.
When it comes to the board. And we'll take as long as we need to take to hear everybody out. That's to me very important, extremely important. But, like I said, ours is right now the nuts and bolts, the legwork to inform the board of their options. That's what we're doing. But if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or give me a call. Nobody's going to remember this, but last spring, I asked the board, we're going to hang in October an exhibit called Ulster County Women of Note. It's a traveling exhibit produced by the Ulster County Historical Society and the Ellenville Library. In fact, it just won an excellence award from Hudson River Heritage. It was going to hang, and it's a series of panels of women in Ulster County who have made an impact over the years. And it was going to hang in the community center in October. Turns out they've arranged some big suffragette rally in October, so they asked if we can move the date. We're going to move it to around Thanksgiving, and I'll have more on that, the exact date coming up.
You had brought that up to me earlier, and when I brought that to the board for discussion, we did not have a firm date at that time.
Yeah.
So we were agreeable to the
It's a very nice exhibit, and I think, and this is the centennial of women getting the right to vote, even though Woodstock didn't vote for it. Lastly, one more sign thing. Any day now, we're getting a new historic marker to replace the one that was taken out by a car on Glasgow Turnpike. There's a sign there now that says Overlook Mountain or something, and it points the wrong way. It points towards Sardites, which maybe is not a bad idea.
Just send them away.
So if you're talking to the state,
I
that sign is actually where the marker was. And
I
that's- so
have
that-
mentioned that, and nobody seems to know about this song.
Well, maybe you should call Sardites, and if anybody's looking for Overlook
Now
Mountain
just
over there.
tell Mike to take it down.
Yeah, okay. When we do the, can we just do that then? I'll tell them? Because the sign's coming in any day now, and it needs to go back up. And it's right where the old, that state sign is where the old sign was.
Right.
Okay, that's it.
Just to touch on your short-term rental committee, so the way I'm looking at this unfolding is, and you gave me this information earlier today, sometime in November, December, you feel that you'll be making a presentation to the town with some recommendations on possible avenues we could take. At that point, my guess is that it will require some amendment to some law, probably our zoning law, which is a process. We will have to come to terms, to some agreement on what we want to see happen. We will then have to write it up as a zoning amendment, which will get sent to the planning board, who has 35 or 45 days, I forget which, to mull over our recommendation. They may send it sooner or quicker than that, but so I would envision that sometime end of March, early April, if we all move along quickly, that we could have some law in place that we could institute for next year.
Yeah, the whole idea was for next year.
Yeah. So, but even then, if you could get it to us in November even, we could start that and have something to the planning board by, say, mid-January. That might be beneficial.
We will do our best.
Thank you. Two other things. Mike Reynolds and the highway department will be starting shortly construction down at the Mountain View parking lot. I know that Mike, I forget if he said he ordered them or the order came in. He's getting fencing, which will be similar to the fencing we have in the parking lot up here. So that's on its way if it's not already here. And once he gets that, they'll be putting that in and delineating. I know that Jay has talked about charging for that lot, and once it's delineated, it's something we could consider. But one issue that I've mentioned to him several times, and he doesn't want to seem to do one without the other, is the possibility that we could look into designating 5, 10, 15 spots as long-term overnight parking. And, I don't think this would take much. We could agree on a fee and we could make it as a policy. It doesn't, I don't think it would take a local law. So it's something we could act on quickly. And I just wondered if we should consider that.
I like the idea in the long term. First of all, we won't need another attendant there
No.
to collect money, and so we could earn money from long-term parking, and we could do it through Jackie's office, because she is,
But it's a huge need in this
yeah,
town.
and I think that way we'd be collecting money, earning money without spending more money, and I would rather do that than charge for that parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah, we had discussed this at a previous board meeting, the idea of doing the long-term parking. I agree that long-term parking is a very nice idea. And then we just have to, I don't know whether we do stickers or how we know what car belongs there, but we have to have some way to make sure that anybody walking by knows what car belongs in the spot.
I think that
Something to stick in the window.
some type of, something similar to a handicap sticker that they would
Hang in the window.
Or
hang,
just put on your dash.
or on the dash.
Yeah.
And, we would designate
Dates.
a couple of spots there, and then, the town clerk could do dates.
Right.
And the PD would roll
Okay.
through
Okay.
and issue tickets if anybody didn't. So, Richard?
No, I'd be interested in seeing the outline.
So I'm going to put together something and initiate that sooner.
What do we
I
consider
think there's a real
overnight?
need for that in this town with all the community people we have and the weekenders to come here, be able to park their car.
Well, I know even
Go
on
to
your
the city,
street,
come
we've
back.
had people park their cars because they're heading to the city for the weekend or something like that, and they just leave
It's a
on
great idea.
public streets, so, you know.
Well, for me, I would say I'm open to anything. If somebody wants to go away for the weekend and wants to get a 3-day pass, you know, if somebody wants to do it on a monthly basis, I wouldn't want to go too far out, maybe quarterly.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
This is an experiment, so I'd like to see how it pans out. But, you know, I could envision some people, they'd just get a yearly pass, you know, and they'd go down to the city for 5 days or 4 days, and, you know, they know they'd have that spot available.
And you know what you could do too is have the police have something that they can just stick on a car, because there's a lot of overnight parking, like people will ask me, and I said, you know, it's your own risk. I can't tell you that your car won't be.
Right.
But this way, they can actually move the swing into the paved lots by putting a piece of paper stating, you know, your vehicle is subject to be towed, just to let you know there is overnight parking available, blah, blah, blah. And just stick it on the car, because I'm sure there's a lot of cars that are just left. Well, we do know that all over.
The other parking item, so Richard and I and Jay have been working with the stone wall down here at the bottom that was damaged. We did get a insurance check for $4,200 and change, and I recently, so I guess let me step back, we came up with an idea about reworking that wall so that the pier gets moved over a foot or two, and that we would open up a 4-foot opening between the two piers next to the pharmacy. We would fill in that ditch with a gravel walk, which would go right up the side of the road to the parking lot, and then Mike would do a crosswalk up there by the parking lot to get people in. The overall cost for that is about $7,500. We do have $4,200 from the insurance money, which will cover a chunk of that, and then his numbers came in a little lower for the Mountain View parking lot,
Okay.
which
That's lower than yours.
should more than cover. But I've got a couple other places I could pull it. So
And we got the return from the Land Conservancy, the approval.
all good, no problem. That came in the other day. And I haven't pressed them on it because I know we're not prepared to do it tomorrow. But Mike and I have talked a little bit more about getting a price to expand that parking lot. And I think once we get a walk in there, it's going to be safer. We can, you know, put a clearer sign up there. I think it could become a potentially more useful lot. Somehow we could double the parking down there. So over the winter, I'll press him a little bit more on that, and it's something we could take a look at come spring.
So Bill, I have something, this is really a question for you. I often go to the Colony at night. Not often, but, you know,
How often, Kathy?
whatever.
Is this a problem?
She's headed there already.
But anyways, I usually park in the town parking lot and then walk through that gravel. It's kind of dark back there. I don't know what the chances are of the town putting maybe one light back there.
You're not going there again, are you? Oh, okay.
Not $35,000.
That'll be your final hurrah.
$35,000 lights that someone wanted on a parking lot that wasn't ever used in the dark. But I thought, I don't know, it's something.
Didn't we just turn the lights down in there for somebody?
No, we didn't. That was over on Mountain View.
That's
I
what you
just
saw
thought-
that.
But you're talking about it in the lot.
I'm not talking
Oh.
about Mountain View, I'm
Talking
talking
about the Rock City Road
I'm
lot,
talking on Rock City.
Oh,
Right,
on Rock
right,
City
right.
Road,
The
okay.
Colony.
Behind the
You
Colony.
Take the back door into the Colony, you know, you can park.
Oh,
in
you
the-
want over in the Rock City lot.
Yeah.
Why don't you park on the other side where there is lights already?
Why don't you ask them to put a floodlight on their buildings?
Yes.
All right, well,
I would talk to them about a flood. Thank you,
Yes.
Iris.
next, Iris, but yeah, because you need a light back there, it's
Creepy.
dark and
Creepy.
people are walking back and forth.
But if you park in the
You
town
know, a
lot on the
sensor-
other
a
side,
sensor light.
it's
Oh, yeah,
normal.
but it's
Yeah.
very convenient to park in the other part.
Oh, you scoot right
Well,
out.
nobody sees your
I know, nobody can didn't see me back there, I wasn't there.
Go in the back door. Anyways, okay.
Anybody got any other questions, issues, concerns, complaints, praises? Nothing? Okay. Adjournment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're done for another night.
No meeting on the 10th.
You know, we'll leave it open, but
Yeah. So